I had to move into the sun. It's gotten pretty chilly out here. Been getting way below freezing the past several nights, and the wind was blowing. I was sunny up on the rock I was on, but the sun had moved behind the trees. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was let's see if I can remember the word for it. So with the holidays and everything and coming up, and just Thanksgiving having just passed, it was creating a lot of emotions in me. And those emotions were, missing my brother, and the love that I have for him, and how much I enjoyed his company and just being his brother. And, over the past several years, I've been taking my kids up there because my kids and his kids are the same age. So, we wanted the cousins to be around each other growing up, and have that family familiar feeling and support system. And so, over the holidays, I've been up there for several years, for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, summers, all the holidays, for years and years. So this is like I think this is the second year or maybe third year, I can't remember, that I wasn't there for Thanksgiving, that we weren't up there for Thanksgiving. And last year and the year before, I was dealing with my brain injury really bad, so it's not like I really had any time, any energy to put my attention and time towards focusing on missing that. So now that I'm feeling so much better, and I've pretty much almost healed completely from that last brain injury, this past Thanksgiving a few days ago, I was really like dealing with the nostalgia of and missing that, and like emotionally like wanting that. And so I was having it was almost like it was like a tug of war inside of me, inside my brain, due to my emotions about, like, oh my gosh, I'm so wrong with what I've been doing, and how I cut everybody off, and I'm just crazy, and I'm the one in the wrong, and whatever I had to think in my head to justify reestablishing that relationship. But what I realized was that not only is that crazy thinking, but that what it was that was causing that cognitive dissonance was the nostalgia. So, I still couldn't put my finger on it completely and make sense of it. And again, I think it was because I've been eating all day. So when I eat all day, it really dulls down my ability to process things in my head. So this past weekend, it was a few days ago, I had a talk with my niece, and my youngest son was there as well. And we were talking about nostalgia, because, she's feeling the same way right now, with the holidays and everything, and desiring that family atmosphere and everything. So I really wasn't able to completely process this until I had this conversation with her, and then be able to get it out of my mouth in order to understand exactly everything in the strength of this nostalgia. So we got to be very, very, very careful, because on this healing journey, because you're giving up these things that you call friends and family and authority and, masters and bosses and superintendents and all these things above you. See, you've placed all these things above you. So in this healing journey, you have taken them, you've cast them down, and you're lifting yourself up to that height that you held everything. That's what you're learning how to do. You're learning how to lift yourself up to that height. And instead of giving, let's say your family was up here, your friends were up here, your boss, your work, your everything else was up here, right? And that you worshipped it because it was up there. So you gave it your time, your energy, your attention. So with this healing, you're taking all that, you're casting it down, and now you're learning how to lift yourself up. You're learning that you are worthy of that time, that attention, that energy. And it feels, and what the world will tell you, what the society will tell you is, oh, that's so egotistical, that's so selfish of you to want to just focus on yourself when you have all this family that needs you and all this society that needs you, and your boss is like, we need you at work 24/7 and we need your attention, we need you, everybody needs you. And you'll notice this when you start fasting. If you're going to do a fast, don't tell fucking anybody, because as soon as you do, the matrix will fucking come at you and fucking do everything it can to get you from fasting. It will put every fucking fast food advertisement, it will put every smell in your face. It'll have everybody coming to you, offering you food. It'll have people ringing you up saying, hey, let's go out to eat. I mean, it's unreal. It really is unreal. The roadblocks that will be placed in front of you on this healing journey. And one of the things that we have to be really careful of is nostalgia. And nostalgia can get kicked off from smells, from sounds, from certain sights, from thoughts, from emotions. Your nostalgia can get kicked off. And all nostalgia is it's a remembrance of the past, okay? And a desire for the way things used to be. And what helped me talking to my niece this past weekend, and that we both figured out together, was that in order for nostalgia to have any kind of effect, your brain has to do is it has to completely shut off all the negative and the bad things, negative or bad things, and just completely focus and make things seem like they were 1,000 times better than what they actually were. Because when it really came down to it, all those years that I would go up to my brothers for these vacations, to take the kids for all these holidays, year after year after year after year after year after year after year. Yes, it was nice being around family, but the thing that my mind was blocking out was how sick I was, how year after year I was becoming sicker and sicker, to the point where the last couple years that we had gone up there, several different times throughout the year, for the past 2 or 3 years, towards the end of it, I wasn't even able to go inside because of my PTSD and because of the accumulation of my brain injuries and not healing myself, and the toxicity and the things I was dealing with, that I was literally looking at those times as being, oh my God, they were just the best of times, and I would just wish I'd do anything to have back. No, I would not. So nostalgia is very tricky. Nostalgia is a trick we play on ourselves to get ourselves to think that things were so much better at a certain point in time, and to give ourselves over to the past. And that's dangerous, to fall in love with the past, because we are becoming who we are supposed to be through this healing process. And, again, we took all these things, friends, family, bosses, work, and hobbies, all that bullshit, and put it down here and are lifting ourselves up. And in the process of lifting ourselves up, we deal with the guilt and shame that's placed on us through the society, saying, oh, you shouldn't just focus on yourself. Oh, you shouldn't just, that's egotistical. Oh, look, you shouldn't just focus on yourself. That's right. If you're just going to be, play into the system and you consider focusing on yourself, like just sitting in front of the TV or just getting drunk every night or just, playing video games all day long and not doing anything proactively for your healing or addressing your issues, then yeah, that is egotistical. If you're doing those things as instead of helping family out, then of course that's egotistical. But if you are actively contemplating and focusing and giving your energy and attention into breaking old programs and into writing your new programming and into figuring things out and giving up old habits and creating new ones, then that is not egotistical, guys. That is our personal responsibility as humans on this earth. We should have all been doing that since day one, instead of going along to get along and playing into the system and giving into it all its vices and its breads and circuses. We were originally meant to do what we're doing now in our healing process back then. So as we're healing, all of these things are going to come along to make us feel bad, to draw us back in to our lowly position and slowly place these other things, family, friends, all these constructs above us that have always been there, and go right back into our old lives again. And again, because that's comfortable, because that's what we know, because that's where we find our safety. Comfort is safety. We have equated comfortable with safety. So one of the other things that you will run across, without the matrix trying to fuck with it, just you fucking with yourself, is nostalgia, is thinking that things were better in the past. And what your brain does, in order for nostalgia to work, your brain completely forgets all the negative and all the bad and all the toxic and all the evil things that were associated with those good times you had in the past. And you're only focusing on like this dream world of how good it was, right? And so that's what I was able to process with my niece was, because we were both on the verge of, thinking in our heads, well, in order to go back and have that again, we'd have to apologize to these people and say that we were doing wrong in focusing on ourselves, and we're doing wrong in our claim of being abused by people negating our issues and our problems and denying our trauma and abuse. And that would be giving up our whole story. That in order to do that, we'd have to give up our whole story and we'd be back at square one again. And then we'd have to fall right back into our character, which is, what people expect of us and want from us. Instead of reclaiming our authority and our authenticity, we'd have to go right back into our character that we were playing in this game, in this grand scheme, for the betterment of the social order and the social construct. Fuck the social order, fuck the social construct. That's what the whole purpose of this journey is, to focus on yourself. What needs to happen is that whole social order and social construct needs to be crushed. It needs to be crushed and destroyed and forgotten and gotten rid of and be put in the past. And that's by each one of us, to quit playing along in the game, and for each one of us to claim our authenticity and our authority, and each one of us to put our personal responsibility on our backs and carry it, and to be disciplined enough to make the changes that we need to make, and have enough courage to speak the truth, and to walk in truth, fact, and reality, and quit playing these fucking bullshit games, and quit going along to get along. those are the requirements for true change. So the love of nostalgia is very, very dangerous. It's okay to reminisce, but reminisce with and use it as a tool for forwarding yourself in your processes of thinking and reasoning, and realize that these things like reminiscing and nostalgia are just another trickery of this matrix to keep you enslaved. And again, it all comes back to being the mental game. We have to overcome these things mentally and process them mentally. But at the same time, just like with those people who have been taking, whether it's the pill for the depression, anxiety, or whatever physical ailment for so long that they've been having, that their body no longer produces and is operating differently physically because it has become dependent on that pill for the uptake of serotonin or dopamine or whatever it might be that is shutting down whatever process in your body for the pill to work, right? So if you've become physically addicted to these things, it's going to be a process, coming out of those things. And so I'm getting somewhere with this. And that's because, like, right now I'm getting ready to start doing this solid food vacation, and they call it juice fasting, right? And the reason being is because I have what I'm struggling with still, and where a lot of my issues are coming from, is this mucoid plaque, this snake, this evil demon, this parasite that I've grown inside my body, that I've fed through my engagement of ingesting this toxicity for decades and decades and decades. So what I did was I created this parasite inside of me that requires these things, right? And until I flush this parasite out of me, it is going to, at any moment and at every moment, create, probably that's the source of this nostalgia, that's probably the source of the reminiscing, that's probably the source of, when I'm not working, I'll eat throughout the day, and I find it very difficult not to eat throughout the day. It creates anxiety in me, and and what I'm thinking is it's all coming from, I've healed on so many different levels, and one of the things that has not been addressed yet is this snake in my system, this demon, this entity, this parasite that I fed for decades, that is there, that it's not like it's just because I'm ignoring it now or trying to ignore it or act differently. It's still something that's a part of me physically right now. Until I kill it and remove it, it's something that is going to have a pull on me in many different ways, again, because you have more neurons that run through your digestive system than you do in your actual head brain. So it affects your emotions, it affects your thinking, it affects and therefore your actions and behaviors, right? So now this comes back around to, well, Richard, why can't you just mentally get rid of that thing? Well, because I've already fed this thing to where it's a big thing. It's not just some small thing that, and it's become programmed. It's holding programming and habits in my head still. And so if something happened, if we went into, if a shit hit the fan scenario in this world, or at least in the United States, and there was no longer grocery stores, and there was no longer, I'd probably, through the force of having to no longer consume, this entity would die off on its own through forced fasting, right? Because I know I would mentally be able to keep myself calm enough and know I'm not going to starve to death no matter what I'm feeling down here. Because, guys, I don't know if you know this, but when you're hungry, actual hunger comes in your throat. It's an actual feeling in your throat. If anything that you feel down here that you associate with hunger is coming from parasites, it's coming from the snake in your belly, the entity, the demon that lives down in the depths of your system that is running you. But you know, if I was forced into that scenario of not being able to consume, I know that I would be fine. But I'm not. I'm still surrounded in my kill box, you know, or with work or whatever else, and I know that I have access to these foods. So, you know, this thing knows, so it's like constantly fucking with me. So the through all my research and what I have found is that through the juice fasting and the solid food vacation, it eliminates, you know, again, it can take 100 days, it can take more than 100 days, 150 days, whatever it might be, to fully eliminate this mucoid plaque and get rid of this parasite inside of your digestive system. So that way it no longer is a part of you. So I just wanted to touch on that. You know, that's where I'm at right now. My juicer should be coming in on Monday. So here in a few days, today's Thursday. So here in a few days, my juicer should be in, and, you know, I'm going to go on a solid food vacation for however long it takes to destroy this entity that still has a major pull over my thoughts and desires and my functioning and everything else. Is there anywhere else I wanted to go with that? I think that might be good. So just be careful, guys. You know, that's another thing you're going to be dealing with is nostalgia, you know, thinking that, you know, when you start cutting these people off or cutting these things out of your life, you're going to be hit at a certain point in your journey with a hard dose of nostalgia that will make you feel like you went crazy and you know, you're just, all of these things are ridiculous and you just need to plug back into the system and go back to your old personhood and your old character of being who you were. Or maybe choose a different character, you know. You might even justify it like that. Well, I'm just, you know what, instead of being, I was a warehouse worker, but instead of doing that, I'm going to be a certified yoga instructor now. At least I'm helping people, right? Again, that's just all virtue signaling and jumping right back into the matrix system and playing the game and being a part of the grand scheme of things. And no, just, you know, we justify it by saying we're going to help by being a yoga instructor. At least I'm teaching people how to be physically, you know, healthy. And no, that's just, you're actually an impediment to other people's journeys, because what you are going to do now is when somebody comes along on their journey, instead of allowing them the freedom and being that free human to bounce back and forth with free thinking ideas, you're going to try to draw them into your entrapment of yoga is the answer. So therefore you are the slime, you are the creature, you know, in the bottom of the swamp creature that when they as they're trudging along on their journey, you're there to pull them back down, you know. It's like the Pilgrim's Progress, you know, anything to distract and keep people from their thin and narrow path, you know. But stay strong, guys. You can do this. You are the strongest, most powerful, most intelligent, most empathic, most important thing on this earth. And the reason I know that for a fact is because everything since the day you were born has been trying to tell you otherwise, yet they all want your attention, intention, and energy. Think about it.